What is happening, everybody, and welcome back to the Sports Card CEO. My name is Matt Ham, your host. Every week with you is Bubba Wilson and Eric Mandelkern. Gentlemen, what's happening?
What's going on? How we doing?
This is exciting, guys. So we launched this, last week, threw a few episodes out there, and y'all, I am blown away at the response to the podcast thus far. I know you guys are getting messages. We're getting messages. Like, this is a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
It is so good to see our listeners kind of chiming in. One of the things we want to remind you guys of is make sure you're following the show, subscribe to the show on Spotify and on iTunes. And if you like what you're hearing, you can go and click and leave a review. Guys, I just wanted to read a quick review on air. We had a guy who said, "This is a great blend of prospects and hobby knowledge from three of the best to do it." And I thought that was just like super cool. Like, people are really jiving with this. We had another guy who reached out to us on Instagram, and he said this. I just wanted to read this to our listeners. He said, "Wanted to reach out and say awesome podcast. Started listening to it this week at the gym and on the drive to and from work. Just gotten back into the hobby after a year, building up my PC and the man cave. Really looking forward to future episodes and the upcoming baseball season. The best game in the world. I love you guys talking prospects, especially the second tier guys, so giving them some sleepers there." So I just wanted to say that. Thanks to our listeners. We really appreciate you guys being a part of that. So, guys, any hobby news for y'all this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm grinding still. Like I said, I'm the vulture of Bowman right now, boys. I'm that guy that's kind of waiting in the wings. 2 seconds when a card pops up, I'm grabbing it because there's not many out there. But had a big week. Picked up some Basayo color, which was great. Picked up some Max Clark red, which I was really pumped about. Like Max Clark. Have been continuing to pick up Jaden Daniels kabooms, baby. So keeping that rolling. But no, still just vulturing out there and grinding as we go, but trying to continue to do that.
Yeah, same here on my end. I mean, more of the usual, some more Sebastian Walcott deals that I have in the works, some Arjun Namala coming in, and some Carson Bench, Mets fan, but just kind of being opportunistic, a couple other things here and there, but nothing of note. We'll talk about the Caglione Super on another episode.
So you guys, I don't know if y'all know this guy or not, but this week I bought a really cool King Griffey Jr. Do y'all know who he is?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
No, I like the 90s inserts, man. So I picked up a Griffey Rose Zero this week for my little PC wall. So
Nice.
I'm still nerding out on 90s stuff. But guys, thanks for the quick update. So this episode is a really special episode because we have our first special guest, and this is a really, really cool thing. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we want to introduce you and welcome to the show, the Sports Card CEO, Evan Carter of the Texas Rangers.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
What's up, man?
There he is.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Technology is fantastic. Evan, thanks so much for taking time out of your schedule, man. I know spring training is right around the corner. We look forward to asking you some questions, but Kern, you want to kick this off and share with everybody how this got started?
Yeah, I mean, so Evan and I have been talking on and off, created somewhat of a good relationship over the last year or so, I would say, maybe half a year. It all started when I think Evan recognized that I was the owner of his Bowman First Super. But I want to kick off the show and I want to ask you the first question, Evan, and it's probably going to be one of the most important questions that you're going to be asked today and maybe of the year. But how much are you willing to pay right now to get this card in your hands?
I'm just when you first put it out there, I guess it was last year in the playoffs, I guess, or right up to it when I was debuting. So I'm sure then, obviously I wasn't in the big leagues for very long, so I couldn't afford to go out and pay what it's probably worth at the time. But listen, I'm glad that you've got it, and I know somebody who does have it. So if the day ever comes,
well, don't go driving your own value down on purpose.
No, I wouldn't.
Do you remember seeing the clip of when that was hit? Because it was pulled in Korea.
Was it? Okay, I don't think I've ever seen a clip of when it was actually pulled.
Yeah.
On your story, and it was popping up with the little background of the Rangers stadium.
We'll refresh your memory.
Evan, we got a little surprise for you here. Check this out.
축하드립니다. 뿜! 텍사스 에반 카터!
Evan Carter.
Shohei Ohtani, did he announce that?
Yeah, that was Shohei.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was pulled in Korea. I always laughed at that clip. I'm like, I think I have to buy the card just because of the clip.
That's
No,
hilarious.
but in all seriousness, Evan, we appreciate you joining us, and I can't let go of that Bowman First Super anytime soon because I do expect big things from you, and
I appreciate it.
but we do have something for you. It's not quite the Bowman First, but it is a super fractor auto of yourself, rookie card. That this is going to come your way, man.
Are you Well, that is very nice of you. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Super cool.
So
Thanks.
this is for you. I appreciate the relationship that we have. I appreciate you coming on the show. And since I can't get this one in your hands just yet, that one will have to do. But it's a really
Here
beautiful
we
card.
go. That's very nice of you. Thank you. That's awesome.
You're welcome, man. So take me through. Are you a collector yourself? Because I know you're involved in the hobby, and I know that I helped you acquire your Topps Chrome Super Auto. When we did, it was, Evan goes to me. Evan goes, can we do it? Like, is he open to a cash and trade? And I was like, all right, he's going to give away one of his cards. So he's like, what about X cash and this card? And he sends me a Trevor Lawrence auto out of like 25. So like, what is Evan Carter doing with the Trevor Lawrence auto? Like, what do you collect? Are you collecting just baseball? Are you collecting every sport? Like, what is your collection like?
Yeah, so I kind of really got into it when a bunch of my buddies were on Whatnot and Double A. Basically, I call it gambling on Whatnot. I was like, that looks kind of fun. Like, I'll dip my toe in that, and the next thing you know, I'm collecting ball cards. But I try and do it mostly with guys that I've played with or against, just kind of people I know. It's a little bit more intimate that way, I feel like. And then I started getting into, I guess, Panini football and basketball when I was signing with them for my own cards. So I was actually over at the Panini headquarters. It's just right here in Texas where I'm at, and I pulled a Deebo Samuel redemption, and they didn't have it at the in the building there. And they were like, "Let me go. Who do you like?" I was like, "Trevor Lawrence is pretty cool. Like, that'd be a neat card." And she comes back with that card actually. So I had the Deebo Samuel redemption, and then I ended up with the Trevor Lawrence card. So that was kind of neat.
I would say that's an upgrade. At the time.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you following the whole debut patch thing?
I am. It's honestly, it's kind of crazy. It's almost out of hand now. I mean, there's so many different one of ones, and I've even seen the card where it's got like your batting glove from your first home run, and there's just so many. I don't know which one's the going to be the most sought after. I would assume the debut patches, but then there's a lot of stuff going on. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah. It's one of the things that you and I have spoken about is like there are so many different parallels out there. There's so many different sets and so many different one of ones, and I'm sure you have a lot of people that hit you up on Instagram messaging you, right? Like, are you interested in this? Like, how many people is that every day?
Yeah. So I kind of feel bad. I mean, I'll reach out or put on my story like, hey, hit me up if you got a one of one. I'd love to trade for it. And then it just ends up getting lost in like this spam folder of like you go to request and then there's another section that's like hidden requests or something, and then it's 99% just like spam, and then there'll be like one actual real message in there, and you're scrolling through it. And I try and find as many as I can, but I do know I'm probably missing a lot of people. So hopefully they keep sending the messages, I guess.
Yeah. I see like you're consistently make Topps posts, I feel like, for trades for one of one. So you're at the top of the list there. Are there other guys on your squad in the clubhouse that collect? Like, I know are you guys talking about that? Are you guys like, messing with each other based on values of who costs the most and stuff like that?
Obviously Josh Young is he's probably the biggest collector on our team, maybe in professional baseball, honestly. I don't know. He's really into it. Spending a lot of money on packs and cards and stuff, but he's really into it. Dane Dunning's into it, and honestly, other than that, I wouldn't say that anybody's, I guess, into it, honestly. But I know there's a lot of guys, in the hobby in baseball that are getting into it. It's definitely getting more popular with players, I think.
How can we get Wyatt into it to get this?
Wyatt doesn't want a thing to do with it. I remember he traded somebody, I think it was an unsigned one of one, and he was like, hey, should I this guy only wants a bat. Like, is that good? I'm like, Wyatt, go give that guy a bat. Like, that's ridiculous.
Now.
I was like, I'll go give him, I don't know. I'll
give you my bat for it.
Anything about it.
Are you guys like ripping cards in the clubhouse at all? Like, is Josh bringing in like?
Yeah, he does, and expensive stuff too. It's
What's he ripping?
It's leaving my mind right now. It was almost like a briefcase type deal where he opens it up and it's got like the golden casings around it. He bought that and brought it into the clubhouse, and basically people that didn't know anything about
Probably
it,
Transcendent or something.
Yeah, the table watching him open it up. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So we're about to see Kern leave the screen, and he's headed to Texas.
I would put I'm interested to see Josh's collection versus Josh Donaldson. Supposedly has a huge collection of basketball.
Okay,
apparently. And Francisco Lindor, which
That's
is
awesome.
strange to me.
Super
But
cool.
yeah, when are you heading out to spring training?
So I leave February 13th. So next week, man, it's coming up quick.
You feeling good and everything?
Yeah,
You
feeling great.
Good.
I think we figured out a lot of stuff this off season to hopefully kind of put all my health stuff behind me, I guess. I've got a good routine going. And they've been great. There's a lot of good guys around me in the training room and weight room staff that's been backing me up. So I'm really excited for this year.
So one of my last questions for you, and I know these guys have questions for you as well, but when 2020 draft came out, where your first Bowman was, were you collecting that at that point, or were you like, this is the moment I'm going to start collecting my cards? Like, were you chasing your cards?
So when I first signed and like when I like the 2020 stuff, I really wasn't into cards at that time, and I didn't even honestly do it. My signature's changed since then. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to sign my name or anything, so I was doing my best. So don't judge me. But no, like I said, probably AA was probably the first time I started getting into it and having fun with it, just because I'd been around for a little while and be like, oh, I played with that guy. Like that's kind of neat. And next thing you know, my dad's like, yeah, I've got like the whole attic full of cards from the 80s. I'm like, well, let's go check them out. Like, that'd be sick, And then, he's got some really cool stuff from, back then. So it's been fun.
Yeah. It's just you have such a cool story. You're a second round pick, and I feel like you didn't get the love that you deserved, that you deserve now. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when you were drafted and, Jim Callis is basically speechless. He had nothing to say. It was like, what is the report on this guy? And he didn't have much, and now look at you. You got called up and made your debut on September 8th, and you're batting third in the lineup in the World Series, crushing it, man. Like, it's a crazy story.
Yeah, Twitter was not happy when I got drafted, I don't think. And there were some people on
Twitter's not happy
a
anytime.
lot. Yeah, that's a Twitter thing. That's not a you thing.
It's a cesspool.
Yeah.
What do you guys got? I know you guys have some questions for Evan as well. So.
Yeah, Gary, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I do. So, hey, Evan, I don't know. My IG name is Baseball Bro Sports Cards, and the name came from my little boys. So my questions today are going to be mostly generated from them. So before they went to school this morning, I said, hey, guys, they're huge baseball fans. It's how I got into cards. And so I've got some questions from them from a 11-year-old, 9-year-old, and 8-year-old perspective, okay? So from the 9-year-old, this is from Walker Wilson. What was your best game of your entire career, all the way from Little League, travel ball, all the way through high school, through minors and pro? What's the best game that stands out to you in your career?
I think probably in 2022, we were in Rome, Georgia, I think. And I should have hit for the cycle, but I didn't. So what happened is I hit a home run in my first at bat, I think. I hit 2 triples that game. I hit a double and a single. Or wait, no. What did I do? I didn't hit a double. I hit 2 triples, a homer, and a single. So if I would have stopped at second, I would have had the cycle. But I got 2 triples instead.
Overeager.
A couple cool plays in the outfield, and that was probably my best game.
Nice.
So that was Walker. We have Rhett Wilson, who's 8. His was what was the hardest moment in your baseball career?
Yeah, I definitely think last year has been the hardest moment of my career. You go from playing in the World Series and winning it to next thing you know, the expectations are out the roof, and then you get hurt and you want to keep playing. And, I guess it comes to a point where you just got to face reality and realize that you're hurting yourself and the team by continuing to play. I mean, I wasn't, healthy, and I'm sitting there trying to play and I'm doing bad. So it was such a 180 spin of, going from here to just, I don't know, as low as you can get being hurt. So that was probably the hardest moment of my career.
Yeah, can imagine it being very tough.
How do you block out? I guess that's a question I have to kind of add to that. Like, how do you block out that noise from the media and the stuff that's out there? Do you just kind of turn it off and just say, man, I'm done listening to this stuff? Or does that even kind of enter in at all?
No, it does very easily. I mean, you hear everything. Like, you've got DMs coming in, people like they find a way to tell you how bad you are. And the media they do the same thing. They try and act like they're your buddy, but they're not. They just want a good story, and it's tough, man. It's tough to block it out. And at the end of the day, you kind of got to use it as like a screw you, like watch this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't care what you say. I mean, people have they're going to say that you're bad, that you can't do this, you can't do that. He deserves to go down, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the day, like, I'm the one playing and you're not, so watch this.
Yeah.
Use that as
Absolutely.
motivation.
Fuel for that fire. Last question from my boys. Jack is 11 years old, big travel ball player, and probably the closest to, obviously reality of playing real baseball. He wants to know, at what age did you know you had a chance to be a major league player? Was that always your dream as a kid?
No, so I wanted to, I didn't even really want to play sports. Like, I did, like, I played sports, but, like, I wanted to just go to school. I was using baseball as, like, I'm going to help pay for my school. And then junior year of high school, the first time I really played on a big-time travel ball team, we were down in Jupiter, Florida with a bunch of guys who were supposed to get drafted, and I just luckily meandered my way onto this team somehow. And then next thing you know, I like did the best in the tournament compared to the guys that were supposed to be all this. And then, junior year, like that was, I guess I was 16, 16. So from then on out, it's like, oh shoot, like I'm kind of, I'm right up there with you guys. Like you're not better than me. And then next thing senior year, obviously we got cut out with COVID, but that was probably the moment, like my junior year of high school.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. I have one follow-up question for you from Jack's question. So for a kid, so now with travel ball and all the pressure that's out there, already at their young age, they're feeling that pressure, 11, 9, 8. It's especially in Georgia where I'm from. It's very competitive. You've got East Cobb out there.
Yeah. That's where we lived all summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That East Cobb?
We would be in East Cobb and at Lake Point and everywhere else. Basically just get an Airbnb and live out there the whole summer, basically.
Well, he's in that mode now. So he's up to, he's playing major ball and he's playing high level stuff. And you start to see with these kids that they're old enough to understand failure. Mm-hmm. And baseball is a game of failure, because if you're a 300 hitter, you're in the Hall of Fame. Yep. Right. And so I guess my question for you is, for a kid that has a dream of one day being where you're at and making it to the show, like what's your best piece of advice to them, from the time that they're his age, 11 years old? And because obviously it goes from 11 U ball where he's in 5th grade to where eventually he's going to be in high school in 3 years from now. Yep. And so how do you manage that mentally, and what's your best piece of advice for them?
I think part one of my answer is going to be, you just need to treat it as a game for as long as you can and just have fun. The moment that you think that this is no longer a game, like I need to be good at this. Like, I'm at the point now, it's my job, like I have to be good at it. But that can take away your joy for the game really quick. And the more fun that you have, the better you're going to be. And that's the way it should be when you're growing up. Especially at 11 years old. You should be just having a blast and being out there with your buddies, And, I think too, I wouldn't necessarily, especially at that young of an age, be looking around and, comparing yourself. Like perfect game is just it's a menace, man. Everybody's a perfect game All-American, this, that, or the other. Like, I'm going to pay $1,000 to go get a perfect game grade so I look like I'm this ranked player in the state. Like, it's a scam, dude. I think at the end of the day, people are going to find you if you're good enough. And I think that you just need to go out there and have a blast, and don't compare yourself to other people who are all this and that when you're that age. I remember when I was in high school, I used to look at these guys like, dang, he's the number one outfielder in the state of Tennessee, and the next thing you know, he's not even in pro ball anymore. Like, it's just you change a lot when you're that young, So people that are the best now are not going to stay there.
I'm going to chime in real quick. I want to backtrack on a question real quick. Evan, toughest pitcher that you've faced thus far in your major league career? It can include the minors, but
I want to say, gosh, who would that be? Glasnow's gross. That's a gross pitcher. That would be up there on my list. I think Zach Gallen, for whatever reason, in the playoffs when we pitched at home, when we were in Arizona and he pitched, what was that game? Was that game 5? Game 5, I guess. Whatever he had going on that game was just, we couldn't, that curveball looked like it was above my head, and the next thing you know, it's in the dirt. Like, it was unbelievable. So it's weird. Like, sometimes people are just way better. Like, they just have their days.
Yeah. What about toughest place to play?
I think Seattle gets loud. Seattle gets really loud. I've never played at Philly in the playoffs, but we were playing there on
Oof.
a random Tuesday, a day game, and it was packed. So that's, I would assume that playing in Philly in the playoffs would be unbelievable. And then playing the
Those
Orioles in the
fans are
playoffs is
mean.
awesome.
Yeah.
Do you hear the fans? Like, I mean, do you block that out? So you're in the middle of the outfield. Do you block that out? Because I vividly remember Jock Peterson in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at Truist Park, and somebody's like, "Shocker, Jock," and he's like, "Yeah, baby." And so every inning, he would like look out there, and he'd be like, "Yeah," and he'd like throw balls.
Yeah,
I mean, do you
no,
block that out, or do you kind of hear it?
Yeah, when you're on defense and you're just kind of standing out there in the outfield, you hear everything. Especially in Oakland when there's like 15 people back there. It's the same 15 people every game. But no, you hear everything.
It's like the movie Major League there.
When I'm hitting, I don't hear anything at all.
Yeah, block it out.
Yeah, it's just silent. Yeah.
When on the work ethic side, I know you said have fun all the way through. And again, for me, I mean, this has been my kids' dream since they were real little to want to be where you're at. And especially my oldest who loves the game, and my 9-year-old. At what point does it go? Obviously, you want it to be fun all the way to where you're at, right? All the way through the major leagues. But when does the work ethic, like you're like, man, I got to work. I mean, was it your freshman year? Was it your sophomore year of high school, your junior? Like, when was it like, man, I got to kick this into like workout mode, and I've got this dream, and I gotta take it to the next level.
Yeah, I think definitely when you start getting towards, like sophomore, junior in high school, like it kind of gets a little bit more serious of like, oh shoot, like there's college coaches here now, like they're looking at me like, you're trying to get into a school, you're trying to, get in front of scouts, whatever. Probably then. And it's just so weird. Everybody develops differently. Like I looked like a giraffe in high school. Like I was, 6'2" and 150 pounds. Like it was like, what are they going to look at me and say? Like, and that was me when I was a freshman in high school. So it's like, you just got to grow into your body, it's a weird thing. And the answer is different for everybody, but I would definitely say the mental shift probably happens more towards the back end of high school for me.
Interesting. One other question I have about hitting coaches, because I always find this to be interesting. So you see guys like Michael Brantley. There's a classic clip of Michael Brantley in a playoff game, and his dad's over there in the stands, like showing him the imaginary swing and the bat path. And obviously Freddie Freeman, ex-Braves, here, and I'm a huge Braves fan. His dad's been massively involved in his swing. And anytime something was going on, his dad would come in. Chipper Jones, kind of the same story as a Brave. Like, how does that enter in? Are there different guys that have different swing coaches? And are there, I mean, how does that kind of work when you get to be a professional? And do they allow, like, I mean, obviously if your dad's involved in your swing, are you still calling dad like, hey man, I'm struggling with this?
Yeah,
like that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we get paid to show up and be good at game time. So whatever you got to do before then is on you. The hitting coaches that are employed by the Rangers are there if you want them, and they're not going to be telling you like, this is what we're doing. And that's that, like at the end of the day, it's up to us to be the best version of ourselves. And so, yeah, there's several guys on our team. Well, I say several, there's a couple guys on our team have their own people that's, they're diehard. This is who I'm going to work with. And then, for people like me, I don't necessarily lean towards a hitting coach. I like talking with players. So, I'm watching Marcus Semien hit. I like talking to Marcus about hitting because, he's a vet. Like, he's been there and done that. He's been really good for a long time. Why would I not want to talk to that guy? So I like talking with players. For me, hitting coaches are kind of like I get to rant to them when I'm doing bad. So you just kind of, honestly, they're just like a soundboard for me of like, I just need to complain for a second and let's talk through some stuff. And, that's kind of what it is for me. And that's very valuable for me too.
Evan, hobby related question. If you could invest $25,000 and buy one card of anybody in the major leagues or minor leagues right now that is not on the Texas Rangers, who is it and why?
It's not on the Rangers? Oh my goodness. Okay. I think you can't go wrong with either Jackson. Actually, well, all three Jacksons probably. I think you can't go wrong with the big three of those. I'd say Merrill's probably my favorite just because I like his swing a lot. I think it's really good. I actually look at his swing in videos thinking like, man, maybe I could like get in there doing some of this stuff. But he's probably my favorite of the three, but I would say one of the Jacksons for sure.
Cool. What do you know about Sebastian Walcott?
I've not been around him all that much, man. I mean, I know they love him. I mean, he's an athlete, And at the end of the day, I can't sit here and tell you how he is on the mental side of baseball just because I've not been around him. But all I've heard is he's a really good person, which gets you a long way. And, he's 6'4" and super athletic and hits the ball really hard. So, hopefully that carries him a long ways.
So you heard it here. Sebastian Walcott's going to be the next superstar.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Evan, dude, I just got to say, man, I appreciate your authenticity. Like, dude, you are real, man. And that is so refreshing. You know what I mean? Just in the world, like, not the fact that you're a Major League Baseball player, you know, and in that spotlight all the time, but just to be as real as you are, dude, I just commend you on that. And thank you for being authentic, dude. This has been a really fun conversation. You know, all of us are dads. You know, I have the most children at 5. Gary has 4 and Kern has 3.
I got some work to get to.
Yeah. But you are married, correct? But
Yep.
no kids yet?
No kids.
I'm just curious, man, like how does the league influence like that relationship, man, with your marriage? Like I can imagine your schedule is so crazy, like all over the place or whatever. But I'm just curious, like what is it like during the season, like with your marriage and your wife, and does she travel with you? Like what does that whole thing look like?
Yeah, so you know, the way we are right now, obviously we're just married, so we kind of get to treat it as like, oh, we're getting to see all kinds of cool places. Like we get to go around, we get to go here, there, and everywhere. And she does. She travels with me. Go on, buddy. Sorry, my dog's sitting here
It's
to
all
get
good.
lovin's from me.
It's all good.
But yeah, we go basically everywhere together. So they stay in the team hotels with us, and you know, it's really family oriented, at least with the Rangers. And I would assume it's the same way with a lot of orgs. But you know, having kids, man, like I don't care how much money people have, like having kids and being in the big leagues, like you're just not there. Like you're at the field from, I mean, I'm at the field from 12 o'clock to 11 o'clock every single day. Like, it's just, that's the way it is. And then on the road, you're just not home. Like, you just miss a lot. And it's tough on your wife because she's taking the brunt of like raising your kids during the season. And it's really hard. But the Rangers do a great job. They've got, you know, we've got a family room and daycare and everything. So you can bring your kids to the field. They can take them to daycare in our locker room. Like, they've got a section for that. You know, we've got a lady, her name's Tony, that's specifically for the wives of like making sure everybody's okay. What do you need? Like, let's make it easy on everybody. So they do a great job with that.
The opposite of the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
The opposite.
That's super cool, man. And I would imagine how demanding it is because, you know, one of the things I will say, I mean, I played, you know, baseball and not certainly at that competitive level, but like, you know, it is a demanding game. It's a long game. And as a season, is for a major league sport, like it's a long season too. You know what I mean? And I can imagine that would be like super, super challenging. One of the things that you said earlier was really, really profound to me. It was actually what we were talking about on our last episode about this idea of comparison. And, you know, we're in business, all three of us in business, and it's easy to compare yourself, you know, in a business sense to the other business guy or in a, you know, the cards that you have, you know what I mean? Well, my cards aren't as cool as Kern's or Gary's. And you talked about that. That was like huge. But when you start to look at guys that you would say, I don't like the word idol and idolize, but when you look at guys that you look up to, you're in a unique spot. There's some guys in the league that have been there for 10, 15, whatever years. Do you have somebody in the league, I would say, right now, that's a seasoned vet that you've had the opportunity to glean from that you look up to? And then do you have like that childhood guy that you just like aspired to meet?
Yeah, so I'll start with the childhood people. You know, I remember obviously I'm close to Atlanta, so I get to earliest memories for me is watching Shepard play. Obviously, he was kind of my guy, and then going through like middle school, high school, I was like, Christian Yelich is the coolest person on the planet. I think he's really cool, and that's kind of what I tried to mimic. What I was doing in high school was off of him. In the game now, man, it's just so weird. Like, you idolize people in different ways. Or I won't use the word idolize. I wanna mimic the way I do my work, you know, off of certain people. Like I think Marcus Semien, the way he shows up every day and his routine, I mean, I could write it out on a paper and it's going to be the exact same thing, whether he goes 0 for 4, 4 for whatever. His day looks the exact same every single day. And that's unbelievable. And that's how he's so consistent and how he stays on the field for as much as he does, because he's able to do that. And that's really cool to watch. And then you've got people that you look up to of like, man, he is just a great person. He's a great dad. Like, he is able to balance life so well. Like Nathan Eovaldi, like, he's just an incredible person. And, you know, he gets smoked on the mound that day, and then he comes off the field and he's just the best to his wife and kids. Like, there's really cool ways to look at people like that. It's definitely different than what I would have looked at, like, oh, this guy can really hit it. His stats are out the roof in the minor leagues. You look at it differently, I guess.
You know, that's super, super cool what you said about routine, because part of our heartbeat for even doing this podcast is called the Sports Card CEO. We talk about cards, we talk about family, we talk about businesses, but we apply all of these life lessons to a variety of different things, because what makes you successful on the field is certainly what makes you successful as a father, husband, and in the office. And routine is one of those things. And consistency, you know what I mean? So I think that that's huge to really hear from you. The last question that I have is really interesting. You know, I went to NC State, and so have always been kind of connected with like Trey Turner, because Turner came through State or whatever. And I loved seeing what happened with Trey in Philly when he was having a terrible start. And that guy, the fan said, let's just start giving Trey a standing ovation. And dude had a phenomenal second half of the season, right? So I want you to talk just a bit about this idea of the support from your teammates, the fans, versus this like being willing or able to drown all that out to just have a tremendous amount of belief in yourself and your skill set.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's really cool. Baseball is such, I mean, I want to say it's the hardest sport in the world. I mean, you fail 70% of the time, like you said, and you're one of the best to ever do it. I mean, that's hard. I don't care who you are. We're the most competitive people on the planet, and you want to be the absolute best that you can be. And I want to be the best. Everybody does, you know? And so when you're not, you feel like you're letting others down. You feel like you're letting yourself down. You just, you know, like, I don't want to go out there and be hurt all year. Like, I felt useless all year. Like, that sucks, you know? And at the end of the day, I was, you know, it was really cool to have people around me that had been there and done that, and vets that had told me, like, hey, like, it's okay to feel this way, like, it's normal, but we all still value you as part of the team. So I could, you know, seeing Trey Turner get that from the fans, like, you don't, you know, he's probably feeling like, gosh, I just got all this money, like, I'm not doing good, I'm letting the fans down. And then for them to come, you know, stand behind and be like, no, like, you're awesome, you can do this, this is, you know, we want you here, that's got to just, you know, make you feel wanted and make you feel like you're valuable, and, you know, obviously you're going to play better after that.
Phillies fans are just so sweet. I mean,
if you play for them, they're awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
That was for you. That was for you, Kern.
Except if you're, you know, Alec Boehm.
Well, I know we got to wrap the show up here in a second, but I want one more baseball question, because I'm in the middle of a baseball life every single day of the week. We have practice with my kids right now. It's baseball season in Atlanta already. Two other things. So you see Ben Joyce, right? I don't know if you've ever hit against him, 105 mile per hour fastball, but then a dude's got a 80 mile per hour curveball. So when you got somebody like that in the pros, two different questions. We're teaching kids already at the 9 years old to 11 years old, try to think, hit the ball to second base. Mm-hmm. You know, let the ball travel. You're going to get a game. Your blood's going to be pumping. Mm-hmm. Then, you know, you'll be able to pull the ball, have that opposite field approach. So my question is two-part. Do you think, same thing as you're coming, do you think bat path, try to hit the ball over second base and drive the ball in the gap? And the other question is, when you're seeing somebody throwing that hard, do you almost have to guess fastball and then kind of bounce off and then just try to defend against the curveball?
You know, I think that, believe it or not, like, there's just certain people that throw hard that it doesn't feel like it's 105 when you're in there. Like, your eyes are telling you, like, I can get to this. And then when you swing, you're like, I didn't get to it. Like, it's just the weirdest feeling, you know? So I feel like, do people still play pepper? You know, like, where you got somebody up there and you're just kind of like, we play pepper.
Yeah.
That's all we did. So that's kind of what I think. Like, you know, I need to do less. This dude's throwing 105 right now. Like, why am I trying to absolutely take the hardest swing I've ever taken in my entire life to try and catch up to this? Like, I'm just going to swing easy, you know, be easy with it. And, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm trying to back the ball up. Like, I want to catch it out front. And I don't want to say that I'm sitting a pitch either. Like, I'm still hopefully able to, you know, recognize that this is a fastball, changeup, curveball, whatever. But obviously he's had great success with it, and that's why he's a great pitcher. The game plan for me would definitely be to try and just take an easier, relaxed swing and try and catch it out front as much as I could.
Evan, quick question for you. I know my answer. When all is said and done at the end of the day, who has the better career, Jacob deGrom or Paul Skeens?
Dude, I mean, you just got to make right now, if Paul Skeens stays healthy, like, I mean, he's on track to be unbelievable. And I would never wish injury on anybody. But, like, dude, to throw that hard, like, he's got it in his back pocket that he's a massive human being that's going to help him out. But there's been nobody that throws that hard that stays healthy. Like, you just can't do it. Like, you could make the same argument when DeGrom, you know, would he have been the best ever if he would have been on track to do it, but he's just, you know, it's healthy, man. Like, it's just, I don't know. That's a great question. And I think I would have to say DeGrom just because he's already at the back end of his career and what he's done, you know.
Yeah, he's already got a couple of Cy Youngs under
Yeah,
his belt.
for sure.
Yeah.
Have you faced Spencer Strider?
No, I haven't. He was hurt when we were there last year.
He's coming back off injury. I have him and Acuna, so hopefully big year for the Braves.
Well, guys, do y'all have any kind of final thoughts for Evan as we kind of wrap up the show today?
Oh, man, I just want to thank you again for coming on.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time and your insight and everything. And again, we're happy. We're going to send this your way.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep this as part of your collection.
That's awesome.
Nice 101 rookie super auto.
Thank you. That's really cool, you guys. I appreciate y'all having me on. This was fun.
Yeah, man.
Bubba, any final thoughts?
Yeah, just thanks for coming on, man. Impressive human being. I mean, just the way you handle the questions. I mean, there's so many young people that are going to be watching the show as well, parents, and you got to take your time, and kids were dreaming to be you one day, you know, and be able to answer it honestly the way you did. I mean, this is stuff that's going to be liquid gold for me for a long time to get to my kids, awesome. You know, to be able to go back and watch these type of videos. And I just really appreciate you taking the time, man.
Thank you.
And Evan, dude, I just personally want to say, man, I just bless you this season. I bless your health and just pray that you have an incredible year doing the game that you love and that you're definitely gifted at, man. And so, you know, I've got 3 boys and 2 girls, and, you know, you have new fans today. I can tell you that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Knew who you were coming into today's conversation, certainly, but now there'll be a special spot at the Ham House. That's our Ham House Sports is our deal. So we're the Ham House. So there will be a special spot at Ham House for Evan Carter fans, and we'll be cheering for you, man. So
and yeah, people better we better hold up the release of this video because I'm about to buy all the Evan Carter up I can off eBay. So wait 2 days before we
relax, Gary. Relax. Evan, is there anything that you have going on that you want to share before you leave us?
No, I don't think so. Listen, I appreciate y'all, you know, doing this, and you know, anytime that we want to do it again down the road, just let me know. This is great.
Cool, man. So we'll see you next week then.
This is Evan Carter with the Texas Rangers. Thanks for watching the Sports Card CE. I appreciate it.